Well, it's been a while since the stock market made the late news, but the Dow dropped close to 335 points today, the biggest hit so far this year. And what's more dramatic, look at the week. Over the past 5 days, the Dow has closed up and down by hundreds of points at a time. Analysts say today's sell-off was based on a fear of a slowing global economy. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, we have an eye-opening interview tonight on yet another American who is now fighting for Qaeda in Syria. The man who spoke to CBS News says he grew up like any normal American. Went to movies, liked sports, but that's reportedly when he dropped out of college to study Islam in the Middle East, and that's when he says things took a drastic turn. Listen.
When I was living in America, I was just a normal kid, like sports and whatnot, growing up, watching movies and these things, so just like any other American. I don't hate America, that's my home, that's where I grew up, but the government and their policies as far as the Muslim lands, then that's another story. There is no threat from us if we don't get hit.
That sounds a lot like something Osama bin Laden once said.
It's the case. We look up to the Sheikh.
You look up to bin Laden?
Of course.
You can understand that that's really hard for Americans to hear.
Why?
Because of 9/11.
We have 9/11s every single day in the Muslim lands.
Would you support a terrorist attack on the United States?
I wouldn't consider it a terrorist attack. If anything happened there, I would consider it a reaction to this action.
Even if innocent women and children were killed?
What I consider a terrorist attack is these tomahawk bombs being shot from wherever they're being shot from and killing innocent people. So I wouldn't. There's no tears being shed from me if something happened in America.
Joining me now, Robert McFadden. He's Senior Vice President of the Soufan Group and former Special Agent in charge of the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Robert, good to see you tonight. It's incredible to listen to him talk about how he was a normal kid growing up in America, and now he's fighting for jihad. How does this happen? He says, look, there's no threat from me or any of us over here if you don't hit us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are some very common themes, though, in this tape and what the young man is saying. I've seen over the course of over 20 years in talking to individuals like him, both Americans and from the Middle East. Some of those recurring themes is that very potent idea to someone who usually, like him, self-recruit and then take those steps toward making contact so he can go to a place like Syria or Iraq.
What are the themes?
The themes include the idea that America is the enemy of Islam. And everywhere there's trouble spots, it's all about America conducting this war on Islam. There's some other recurring themes, too, I've heard over the years. Like, for example, in the 1990s in Iraq, if I had a dime for every time someone I talked to in interrogation told me how America wants Iraq's oil, it's killing 50,000 babies a year. So you have these things that are very potent emotionally to those who would seek this form of violent extremism.
What do you believe what he says there? There's no threat from us if we don't get hit. And the reporter, to her credit, asked, look, after he said that a house that he was living in came under attack, he said, those are my close friends who died. She said, can you honestly say nobody was in that house with the intention of attacking the West? He says, the better question, can you tell me honestly that these hits won't create people who would want to come and hit America? So which is it? We can continue to have that debate.
Well, see, he's very well versed in that kind of judo, if you will, verbally, that guys like him that go over there receive this inculcation about always turning the question around. Now, the practical part of it, though, what he's referring to and what the reporter asked, ISIS or ISIL is hyper-focused on situations going on in Syria and Iraq, there's no doubt. But U.S. security intelligence and allies can't rule out a threat.
You tell me if we hit them, if we didn't hit them, they wouldn't want to hit us? I mean, that's what he's suggesting.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, that form of the violent Salafi Takfiri extremism is all about us as the enemy.
And it goes back many years.
Absolutely.
And no matter what we seem to do, no matter what, it seems like they're determined to kill us. Robert, good to see you.
Thank you.
Well, for days now, we have watched as former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta raised serious questions about leadership in the White House. At first, they said he's a good man and we're not going to go after him. But now the president's defenders are hitting back and hitting hard. That's next.